So something I've been noticing recently is that people are complaining about seeing the same five books in every booktuber's videos. So I decided that today I'm going to talk about five books, not all fantasy. There are some other genres also, which are not talked about that much on booktube these days, and we need to start talking about them again. Like some books I haven't seen them on the booktube like at all. I'm going to talk about it, in a while. But there are some books like which I got to know about from other people on Discord and other places on Reddit and all that people don't talk about on booktube. So yeah, let's start talking about these books because they are phenomenal. So this is going to be a two-parter series. First part is books which are part of a series and second part will be standalones because not everyone wants to read a book that is a part of like a 10 book series or something like that. Like these are not 10 book. Okay, one is a 10 book series, but the others are mostly like trilogies and all. So yeah, let's start. The first is The Winter King, which is part of the Warlord Chronicles. It's a trilogy by Bernard Cornwell. It's a historical fiction. So this is basically an Arthurian retelling, and it is told from the perspective of Derwell, who happens to be a Saxon slave captured by the Britons, I think they are called. Like my knowledge of like British history is very hazy, very sketchy. So if I make a mistake, please like correct me in the comments and please don't be rude. Anyway, so Derwell is a Saxon slave, like used to be a Saxon slave, but then he was taken into the band of Arthur and he quickly grew to become Arthur's, like not exactly confidant, but like someone that Arthur fights with, someone who is in Arthur's company and someone that Arthur trusts and respects. And this is the story of Arthur and how the way it is a frame narrative. So Derwell is telling the story and someone else like in the future a different queen, she is taking all the writing that Derwell is, all the stories that Derwell is writing and changing it, romanticizing it into what we have come to know as Arthurian legends in the present day. So the Arthur in this story in The Winter King is honorable, no doubt, is brave, is valiant, is a good person, but there are darkness within him. There, it's a dark, dark world. You don't root for anyone in this world. Like even Arthur, like he makes some choices that you are like, dude, what are you doing? Like you want to shake him and all. And the only person that I rooted for was Derwell because he's a like ray of sun, not ray of sunshine. Like he's a ruthless fighter, but yeah, like he's a cinnamon roll sort of a person, and he idolizes Arthur like anything. If you are into Arthurian legends and you want to read a sort of a different take on the legend, not romantic, it's not like about the golden days of Great Britain or something like that, you will really enjoy this book. So next we have Sailing to Sarantium, which is part of a duology called Sarantian Mosaic by Guy Gabriel Kay. My first book by Guy Gabriel Kay was a disaster. Lions of Al Rasan, I DNF'd that book. I hated the main characters and I hated the way Guy Gabriel Kay was doing certain things. Then I don't know what happened in Sailing to Sarantium. He was doing the same things. Like the way he handles a story in both the books are similar. Like there is a main character who is sort of like a Gary Stu or a Mary Sue sort of a character, like who is special in the sense like they are always in the center of the plot. They are always like the smartest person, the funniest person, or sometimes the strongest. Or if they're not a warrior, in case of the main character in Sailing to Sarantium, then they are the, person who always does the right thing. And in the first book, that kind of got on my nerves a bit, but in this one, the way it was executed, or I don't know what happened to my brain, maybe I was in the mood for something like this. So it depends on the mood also, like, right, like how you will like a book or not. So it really worked for me this time. It's a historical fantasy, so it is based on real events from history. So Sarantium is basically Byzantium from history, and it is basically the story of this person who is a mosaicist. Mosaicist is who makes mosaics on the temples and walls of buildings and all that. Like mosaic, like they break different like colorful glass, and they make like pictures out of those broken pieces of glass. So he's not a warrior. So that is the first thing that drew me to the book, like, a non-warrior main character in a world that is very violent, that is very, cruel, that is unkind to people. But the main character, Crispin, he always tries to do the right thing. Like at first, when we meet, he's very jaded because of something that happened to him, of the hardships of life and everything. And then he has to go on this journey from his hometown, from his country, to this different world, altogether different world. It's so Sarantium in their world, it's a very modern and it's like a new world to them. So he is making that journey. It's a perilous journey, and he makes, meets people on his journey, makes friends and all that. Foes also he makes. So it's a story about someone's journey to a different point in life, and also the political turmoil in this place, which is which used to be a grand place but is slowly losing its grandeur, like slowly it is moving past its prime. It's a story about, like how things don't last, and the way to make things last is how to leave a legacy, is that you put yourself into your work. Your work will speak for you, if not anything else. So that is Sailing to Sarandia. So next we have A Shadow in Summer, which is the first book in the Long Price Quartet series by Daniel Abraham. This book is very short and very concise, and it's very different. So firstly, I don't know how to explain the book. Like it's about this world where they have different sorts of gestures and symbols that they do with the like postures and all that, that they do with their body, with the limbs, with the, like entire body basically, that convey, like that it's sort of a complementary thing to what they are saying. So for example, if I am talking to someone who is older than me and I want to respect that person, I want to show respect to that person while speaking, so I will speak in a, like reverential way, and I'll also take on a position that will show that I'm showing respect. Like for example, it's not written how, like what kind of movements they're doing. It's just written that, he took this pose, like he took a pose of respect or pose of sorrow or something like that. And the interesting thing was that it's a political fantasy basically, and during like conversations that are very nuanced or, very tense or something like that, someone will see something, but then their pose will have, like hidden tinges or something else. For example, if there's a clandestine meeting that is happening, you are telling the person something out loud, but your posture, it is indicating something more or something else, that someone who is not looking into the conversation, who is just, like eavesdropping or something like that, they won't be able to catch on. So that is what I found interesting. And in this world, I don't want to talk about too much about this book, because there is gonna be a video essay sort of a thing that is gonna come based on this book. Like, this book gave me an idea. Like, I read a bunch of books with similar themes, and that gave me an idea, and I want to talk about it. So I'm not gonna talk about too much in this video. Next, we have Speaks the Nightbird by Robert McCammon. So it is part of a long series, 10 book series called Matthew Corbett series. It's a historical mystery thriller crime story sort of a series. It's about Matthew Corbett, this 20-year-old clerk of a judge based in colonial America. Matthew Corbett, he is traveling with his boss, like the judge, to this city, not city, it's a town sort of a place. Magistrates, they have to travel to different places to see that, like, because they did not have that much manpower to go to have a magistrate in every town that was coming up. So they had traveling magistrates, and Matthew Corbett was a clerk to one such magistrate. So they go to this town, and there they have someone who is accused of witchcraft. And Matthew is sort of like, he is not a believer of, like the supernatural or something like that. So he's like, let's, like, he is a clerk, but still, like, he is a sharp young man. And he is like, I want to investigate this even further. So he investigates. There's a ragtag bunch of people. Like, there's a cast of characters that are very memorable. They will get on your nerves. They will make you want to tear out your hair and all that. But it's amazing. Robert McCammon's writing is phenomenal. I'm on book 4 right now. And Matthew, the way Matthew's character is progressing, it's realistic. It's amazing. Like, the humor is top notch. Like, it's not a funny book, but there is some humor. The best books have some kind of humor along with the darkness in it. And Speaks the Nightbird, it should be read by more people. Matthew Corbett series is a very underrated series. I haven't seen people on BookTube talk about it. This was the one I was talking about. Like, I haven't seen anyone, like, people talk about McCammon's other books, Boys Lives, Swan Song. I haven't seen people talk about Matthew Corbett series. So yeah. Last, we have Perdido Street Station by China Mieville. It is not like part of a series. It is the starting of a loosely connected series of books. Like, it's talked about as a trilogy, a new chromosome trilogy, because it takes place in the same shared world, but the cast of characters are all different and the stories are all different. So you can read this one and treat it as a standalone. It's a very weird story. I'm not going to talk about it much because my throat is like a mess right now, and also because I want to do a like separate video on this, talking about books that are not gonna be everyone's cup of tea. So stay tuned for that video. I'm gonna talk about Perdido Street Station first in that video because I couldn't talk about it here. These are the 5 books that I feel that people need to talk about more. I hope you like this video. Like, if you have read any of these books, let me know down below. And if you want to read something from this list, let me know.